Well, that's a wrap on Northfield tonight, man. The horses all race great. I know I haven't talked to the clients at my partners that own Tactical Mounds. This is going to sound stupid, but she made a break because she was actually too good. What I mean by that is, if you guys watch the qualifier, yes, she qualified in 55, but she was hot. Coming out of the gate, I had to seesaw her and fight with her, and she was really aggressive. And she'll trot wide open aggressive, but this was the first time I can remember ever where she just floated out quiet. I didn't really want to race a big filly like her on a half-mile track her first start, but she was so comfortable here. She qualified. Going into her qualifier, the idea was just get her qualified. And then, send her down. Maybe race her at the Meadows once, or just send her right down to New Jersey, but just get her around. And then she got around the track so well, I was like, man, I feel like I can race here. Now, the problem was, and the other reason for keeping her here, her blood was a little messed up. We wanted to stay on top of it. And this was her home for the last little while. So being on the backstretch, just jogging up and warming up at the track and going up to the paddock, just keeping her quiet played a big role in the decision to race her here. And she was so quiet tonight. Such a difference from the qualifier to tonight. I can tell you exactly what happened. Training down, all we had was a Murphy blind outside, but she got running in a little bit. So we added a head pole. Last year she wore a roller burr on the inside, so it's not like she's never had a head pole on before. Problem was, as we started into the turn, it was clear that Luke was going to release me. There was no two ways but that. I was just letting her idle, and it was almost like she was just out there lollygagging. She was out there goofing around, looking around, and she just rolled off, laid up on that pole a little bit, maybe got a little fumbly and rolled off stride. Really, the break was her, more than anything, not paying attention. It wasn't roughness or soreness or, something that needed to be addressed. It was just her being quiet. I don't think I've ever seen her do that before. Training down, she was hot. Like she had a snake cord on. Like she wore it her whole life. Training down, she was quiet, or she was hot. At the Meadowlands, you had to feed her into the gate last year, and then once you got her to the front, she was 2 fingers. But before that, she was a little. Scotty lost her behind the gate at the Meadowlands. I think that was her, if I'm not mistaken. So she, as I said, she was just too good. She was too quiet tonight down the backstretch. If I wanted to be a savage, I could have just let her sail down the backstretch, and I don't know if I would have run down Donnie, but who cares? She did her work well. The only problem is that's it for her. That may be the last time you'll ever see her on a half-mile track. So she's going to go. I have to talk to Megan, but I'm almost positive she can race off of a break, off of a qualifier. You can in Ontario, you can in Pennsylvania. I'm almost positive you can in New Jersey. And if that's the case, her next start will be at the Big M, at the Meadowlands. And make no mistake, Tactical Mounds, if we can address that, her liver count was high. But what was very odd is Megan sent me, she watches the videos all the time too, she sent me the blood work from Tactical Mounds last year when she arrived in New York at her firm, and her GGT was actually higher. Then Amy, my wife, dug up an old blood work from her back when she was qualifying, and it was high then too. So I don't really know what goes into that GGT and why that is high, but with her it's extraordinarily high. So put it to you this way, Megan's blood last year, her level on, so the level on her blood was 0 to 37 or 36, I believe, was the GGT level. The norm would be inside 0 to 36. I believe Tactical Mounds was 176, if I'm not mistaken. The one in Ontario was 0 to 76 or 70, and hers was 105, and the one here was 150 the other day or something. So I don't know what goes in it. Usually when they get that high, they can't function. So it's milk thistle, milk thistle, milk thistle. I like the pills that we have. I find that they work better than anything, and nothing works awesome that I've seen to just drive it right down. It takes time. But I found that the pills work the best. What I found anyway. She just looks fantastic. Well, put it this way. I can tell you what I personally think. I think Tactical Mounds are trotting about 53 right now at the Meadowlands. She looks amazing. The fact that, I would say she's so focused and poised, but then she made that break. But that's just a big filly on a half-mile track, just not paying attention. just quiet tonight. We had earplugs in her ears and a hood on her. Closed her up. She was just very quiet. Where in the qualifier, she was pretty wild. It took me 3/8 of a mile to get her cooled down. I went 29:59, but you saw what happened when Elliot Deaton came to me down the back, or at the 5/8 pole. It was game on. Like, it was game on in the last half, 56 seconds. And today it was quite the opposite. So I think tonight's break, although frustrating and probably a little upsetting, for the guys that own her, for Jeff and Greg, I'm sure it was upsetting. But at the same token, I would not pay any attention to it. It was a mile and 57 and a piece off a half in a minute and 1:1 from last. That break is non-consequential. She might never make one the rest of her life. She's pretty sure-footed. I just jinxed her. Way to go, Anthony. Anyway, she'll likely head to the Meadowlands next week and race in New Jersey. Also, who else do we have today? Yo Mister, I thought, was steering a little odd tonight. He was 4 to 5 and didn't get away well, and ended up in, and then kind of shoved him into the passing lane, into the inside, and couldn't quite get him up through there. And it was just an odd race for him. Seemed to have a little pop when he finally got through, but he's always been a funny steering bugger. Even before we bought him, I watched all his videos. He carries his head high and cranked to the side, but he's fast. So I guess, again, we'll probably turn the page on that one. It just was what it was. I didn't see any lameness, and Stacy didn't send me a message after, so I doubt there was any issues. Just a kind of a screwed up race for him. And then the horses here raced fantastic. I guess we'll start from the top. Mo Power Baby, I thought, raced tremendous. Had to trot 57 apiece, 58. And was quiet also. Since we put those shoes on her, we went from a flip-flop to that mushroom bar on her 3 weeks after the qualifier where she made a break. We put them on her, and she has been a different horse since. Quiet, behaved. She had some pop on the end of it tonight. I thought she raced rather well. And Stumber Ducati, tough spot to leave from the rail with him. I really had to watch my P's and Q's with this guy. Got away well, sat behind the two favorites, get out, and I was never going to beat that horse at one, and he could have went around until tomorrow morning, and I wouldn't have beat him. But I did beat another one that was a pretty good horse. Fastest mile, I think, of his life tonight, if I'm not mistaken, 56 and a piece. One of them anyway. The horse raced great. Thought he raced very, very well. And then we had the break with Tactical Mounts, but still come back to be third. Showed a lot of toughness, a lot of pop. Still focused in doing her work after she made that mistake. Sometimes horses get disinterested or get a little wound up and end up making another break, but she stayed at it and did her work. So I'm proud of the way she did that. And then Dustin Hanover, you guys know I like Dustin Hanover. He raced good, got away, got shuffled back a little bit, 3 wide around the last turn, and ended up a pretty good second. I thought he raced rather well. So a great night across the board for the stable. We had 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and a fourth. I thought it was a pretty good showing altogether, and all the horses seemed great after the race. So onward and upward tomorrow. A little frustrating. So I did have a few little things to report. I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. So we talked about the horses tonight. Horn Player didn't get in Kentucky. Now, I had a very nice message from one of my partners on Horn Player tonight, and he said, Anthony, I'm just trying to understand your logic of sending Horn Player to Kentucky. Now, this is important. I want everybody to understand how this went. I just trying to understand your logic of sending the horse to Kentucky when they only race twice a week. She didn't get in on Monday because Landing Strip was in there and they didn't split the class, which is true. We have the Meadowlands, Mohawk, Pennsylvania, whatever. And I said, it's as simple as this. I'm trying to do what's best for the filly, right? I don't think she's competitive currently at Mohawk or the Meadowlands. I have no interest in sending her to New Jersey just yet. I do want to build her up. My focus right now is August the 26th. That is the first major stake race that she's eligible to. And right now, there's quite a long ways between her being able to race in there and where she is right now. So what do we do in that time frame? What do we do in that gap? And I just felt that taking her to Kentucky, and they said, well, 1, she draws the outside in the non-winners of 2, then you got to go into the non-winners of 4. Well, the non-winners of 2 and the non-winners of 4 trotted 56 and a piece to 57 and 4, and that's a fast track. That's a fast piece of dirt. My thinking is simple. It is watered down. I think she can do in the nominals of 2 right up to the nominals of 4 with her mare allowance. That would take her right till August 26th. They race there till then. But they're over July the 1st. I think in that time frame she could get a lot of experience, do some good. And by the way, that's a fast track. Longer term is somewhere down the road, her probably being a broodmare prospect. This is a sister by Tactical Landing to Alarm Detector. She had a 2-year-old mark at 58. She's got a 3-year-old mark at 57. If we can lower that to 54, 55, pretty interesting looking filly. So that was my explanation for Horn Player. And to go into Pennsylvania, keep in mind, don't forget, it's PA owned and bred first. So all these horses that are getting qualified and getting ready to go, all fit the numbers of 1, numbers of 2, and they all get in before Horn Player because she's a New Jersey bred that is not owned in Pennsylvania. That's important also. So I just felt that Kentucky was the way to go. Now, as I say that, I am going to school her here at Northfield Park tomorrow. 1, to make sure she's tight, and 2, to see what our options are moving forward. I do want to race her in Kentucky. I do want to see her do well. But I am going to make sure that we have a good look at everything moving on. So I would like to school her a mile 58 tomorrow at Northfield. We'll see how she does. She needs to work anyway. As I said the other day, she's trying to get over something. And I think as many athletes, just work through it will help her. So we're going to school her tomorrow. So that was Horn Player. Renegade Gypsy will not be in to qualify on Friday. I'm going to send a note to the Gypsy group, my partners with Gypsy. The reason being, he popped a splint. I knew something was up with this horse. Don't usually see 4-year-olds start popping splints, but he popped one left front. They said he was a little sore on it. Got the flip-flops on him. Everything seems good. The veterinarian said when we're cryoing that splint, his knees are a little tight. Might be worth doing those knees. Sounds like a great plan to me. So tomorrow morning, Renegade Gypsy's left front splint will be crowded. Just a little tiny splint, but a little painful. And we're going to inject his knees also. So he won't qualify this week, but next Friday he will. And he'll be at 100%. Quite a bit better than he was the other day, too. Cowboy didn't get in at first also eligible in Miami Valley. That really screwed me up. I didn't see that happening. And Jason had messaged me and said, that horse first also eligible. They'd already drawn at Northfield Park. Now, Jason and I talked about it. We could go here. We could go there. He said, well, he did shut his air off last week. Maybe we'll just, work on his throat and focus on next week. Very good idea. So we're going to skip a week. It's unfortunate he didn't get in. I would have loved, oh my God, I would have loved to race that horse down there. But not meant to be. He was first also. Maybe we're in race like 3 and 5, and he's also eligible in the 15th. So I was going to say maybe we'll luck out and he'll draw in, but I don't know how lucky that would be. So we'll see. But as of right now, the Cowboy, Oakwood Cowboy will miss a week and race next week. Talked about Gypsy, talked about Hone, talked about all the horses that raced tonight, and I guess just the open house also. I'll continue to push that for our clients. Go on. I'll post the link tomorrow or something for everybody to go on and RSVP. It should be a lot of fun here in Ohio. I'm just so floored by how good the babies are training here. It should be a lot of fun for all of our clients to get out and experience that. I can't wait for that, actually. May the 13th here, and then May the 28th at Grand River Raceway in Ontario. So with that, I'll let you guys go. You're all up to date now. I did want to talk about Gypsy, Horn Player, and the Cowboy horse, how they did get in. Want to talk about all that went on today. Want to talk about what's going on tomorrow. We're only schooling Horn Player. We're only going to school Horn Player, and at that point, they should have my car done, I would hope, and then I can leave. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up early and start handing out these flyers for breakfast with the horses. So with that, I'll let you guys go. I hope you had a great day. It was a good night at the track. Did not get a win. I did, but you didn't. But all the horses raced really well. Take care.